Hey, welcome to another training camp edition of Upon Further Review, brought to you by Coors Light. I'm your host, Paul Gutierrez, and I'm joined now by Raiders offensive lineman Caleb Rogers. And Caleb, you were just looking at your bio here, and you weren't too flattering about what it says, or it wasn't too flattering about you. I mean, what's your knee jerk when you're looking at your bio?
It's funny because it's too flattering.
It's too flattering.
Yeah, it's lying about my past. If you want to look into that, you can. But I mean, it's just kind of boosting my stats in a absurd way.
How so?
I mean, just humbly in my junior year at Texas Tech in 2022, I did not play good football.
Okay.
And that was one of the best things that ever happened to me because it humbled me the way it did and just truly changed who I was as a person. And really changed my perspective on football, my perspective on life, and just – I mean, it was what needed to happen.
Yeah.
And this is not a reflection of that at all. So, I mean, and it's something I talk about a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like an issue. But, yeah, I mean, I just thought it was funny.
So here's the thing, though, about this podcast and when guys come in. I know you guys are really busy here in the middle. We're the dog days of training camp and getting ready to finish out the preseason schedule with the 49ers coming up. I also teach a sports journalism class at my alma mater at UNLV.
Okay.
And today was day number 1, but we're going to get into interviewing here pretty soon.
Okay.
And I want to know if your daughter can come in and teach these students how to ask the poignant questions, because she went straight to it, Caleb.
She sure did.
How did you get your job, Daddy?
She got after me, yeah. You know, it's funny because she's so young.
Yeah.
She's not entirely understanding of how big my job is or how rare my job is.
Yeah.
And so, you know, how it all works, like they picked me, like it's kind of a do or die situation. Some people are on the team and they're not. And so it was a funny question because, you know, I am always going to do a great job about teaching her about our foundation, which is God. And so that's kind of what I leaned into. But yeah, no, I mean, she was back there watching. And this was her first time seeing me get interviewed. And so even that was kind of like a weird concept to her. So, of course, she's just like me and just wants to ask a question and get involved. And so she did. And, yeah, she kind of stumped me. Like, if you watch the whole interview, I kind of, you know, I'm all right in the media. You know, I can talk pretty well. But that one I was like, I don't know. God told them to pick me.
But then she followed up with the why.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things in journalism, right? Why?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, she did a great job. And,
how old is she?
She's 6.
She's 6 years old.
And so just as we continue, you know, going into our second year here, she's in the first grade. So this is her second year in school. Okay. Just watching her growth. And, I mean, I'm hoping and praying that, you know, it'll continue to be like maybe a fun tradition as she gets older. Like where she'll maybe get to ask me a question every year during fall camp. And we'll watch those questions develop, you know, maybe as I develop as a player.
That's awesome. And like they say, long days, short years.
Yeah.
Because, and it can be applied to anything, your career, raising children, whatever. I remember when my kids used to come with me at a Raiders training camp in Napa. I've covered this team since 2005, since my son was 1.
Okay.
And he's now a senior at UNLV. We just dropped my daughter off. You know, little sad shout out there to my daughter at college at San Diego State. She's a freshman there. But yeah, it goes so quick. And when you share these experiences with them, it just makes it all the more fulfilling.
Absolutely.
So when you have your family here for training camp and you do all that, how does that affect you going in there, and how would you describe what training camp number 2 has been for you since the Raiders drafted you? Because it's a new regime, a change, new offensive line coach. I guess it's a big-ended question there, but how would you describe how this camp has gone for you thus far?
You know, so being a big-ended question, I'm going to try and give you a big open answer.
By all means.
But last year was an incredible experience for me. You know, there was a lot of outside noise, outside voices. This is how it should be going for you. This is what should be happening for you. And personally, it happened exactly how I needed to happen. You know, with my family, the way our family was coming together and growing, creating stability in Vegas, just the way I was coming back to myself, the way I was coming back to the Lord. And so throughout the season, the way it was just able to climb, and every single week, it was like one step closer to playing, like one step closer. Like there was even a point where I walked on the field, and then it was, never mind. And that there was so many times when people were like, this is wrong. But it was so great for me because every single time I was just able to have the perspective of I'm just a step closer. Like this is like I'm here. I'm exactly where I need to be. And so just carrying that into now, and that not being a something that makes me lackadaisical or something that makes me feel like I've arrived because I am here.
Right.
Because every day I know I'm still going to row. I'm still going to show up. I'm still going to do everything I can to get this boat moving forward. And, I'm not the designer or creator of the river and where it's going to go. I don't know if I've got raging waves coming up or a calm stream, but I know I'm going to row.
Okay.
And so that's just what my mentality is. I do everything I can, as much as I can every single day based on what I need.
Yeah.
Not looking at others, not looking at what he's doing or what he's doing, learning from others, taking a small piece from him. I don't want anything from him because that's just not how I go about things. And maybe I like that, but I'm going to tweak it a little bit and take that for myself. And so just putting that together, going into my second year, something I said in my last interview was, the standard of play has really been raised here.
Okay.
And so raising my standard of play, every single time, and even not even allowing, small things to pass me by. When a coach might say that's all right, but still that might not meet my expectation.
Gotcha.
And so just continuing to show up every single day based on what my expectation is for myself and where I want to be. But at the end of the day, being grounded in knowing the fact that I am here, and I'm blessed to be here. And, God willing, I want to play for a long time, but I've already started 5 games in the NFL. And so if that's all that God has for me, I can hang my hat on that. But God willing, that's not, and we've got a lot more starts to have. So
You came out of college having started 55 straight games to last year appearing in 6. How tough was that mentally? How easy was that to compartmentalize that and just realize this is just another step in my journey? This is another bend in the river, so to speak, that you're on?
Again, in college, something that I realized last year was I wasn't even playing, and that's the funny thing about this, I wasn't even playing the dominant football I wanted to play in college until I was really into my 4th year.
Okay.
And so coming to this next level, I was not obsessed about the need to be dominant right now.
Gotcha.
Now, there is a desire to, based on the work that I put in and who I am and my competitiveness and, just my internal drive. But it comes from work, and it just, you got to chip away. You got to chip just a little bit at a time. And so, it's a transition to not necessarily be a starter, but it's also always been the need to play a role.
Gotcha.
Whatever that is. However, doing your best to get the team better, you're doing your best to get the team prepared. We had some great vets last year. We have some great vets this year. And so, just leaning on them, learning from them, what the league is like. And again, there was just, it got put together just one week after another. And that's why by the end of the season, I was playing the best football I was playing that year. And now I think I'm playing even better football, which should be put together to even higher standard. I'm trying to raise that standard every single day.
For yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And you're also involved in one of the, if not the highest profile camp battle, position battles for a starter with Jackson Powers Johnson at right guard. How would you describe how that battle is? When the quarterbacks are in here, and it's interesting talking to Fernando, he says, look, we're in competition, but we're not competing against each other. We're competing with each other. How does that translate on the offensive line, especially with JPJ?
So, again, we just use that to raise our standard of play. And, just going back and forth, not comparing each other, but improving each other, taking bits and pieces from each other. That's one thing about offensive line is the technique that is being asked is going to be similar, but we can take small pieces of our game from each other, communicate with each other about what needs to be given, what needs to be done, how to help each other, how to play with the guys next to us, with DJ and with Tyler, what they need, what they like out of each of us. And, that's just a part of us having to show up. That's just a part of the job, raising the standard of play. That was the same thing I was doing last year. I might not have been in the this some type of high profile battle or whatever, but every single day my job was to raise my standard of play, so they had to raise their standard of play and continue to get better so they could be on the field, and so that I could eventually either share the field with them or be on the field myself, whatever that means. And so it's a great spirited competition within the room, but it's all just about us. It's not about I want to start, or him. It's about us. It's about we, and so that's our job. That's any team's job. Anybody is meant to come in and not take something from somebody else, but raise the standard of play, and either they meet that standard or they don't.
Gotcha.
And so our job is to meet that standard every single day.
Is there too much made of, when you're talking about offensive line and schemes, too much made of a power scheme versus a zone scheme? Or is that just the natural evolution of football now?
I mean, it's a copycat league.
Yeah.
Like every single week, there's going to be small tweaks because you're going to try and target and like look at the big things that they've lost to, and that we're going to possibly throw into our scheme. But we're going to do what's best to win, and a lot of that is being built around the players that you have on the team.
Your own skill sets.
Yes, and who's who in the zoo. Sometimes it's not about X's and O's, it's about Jimmys and Joes.
Okay.
And the one thing that one of our coaches said is like every single play, somebody is going to have the burden, and it's their job to pass that around.
Yeah.
And they do an incredible job of doing that. Sometimes Colton's got to make it happen, and sometimes it's Tyler, sometimes it's Spencer, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Jackson, sometimes it's DJ, sometimes it's the quarterback. And it's just they do a great job of handing that around and again allowing us to all be accountable to each other, allowing us to all have the chance to communicate and to understand what's needed, what's best for us. And so, something that this group is something amazing about this group is the Jimmys and Joes are awesome. We have a great group on this team that is a very, very smart group that can take the X's and O's part from the coaches, whatever it is, whatever week, and we can hit it running. So I think this is going to be a real exciting football team to watch.
How does Rick Dennison then elevate those X's and O's for you guys, for the Jimmys and Joes?
He's awesome. I think all of the coaches in our room are awesome because of the way that they play off of each other. Rick is very good on that's not saying Rick sounds like Rico.
Rico.
Like
Not
very big
suave, but
on
Rico.
like narrowing our vision. I can't do everything for DJ. My job's not to make the point. That's Tyler's job.
Okay.
My job is to do what Tyler tells me to do.
Gotcha.
But my job's to do it well. And so, that's something that Rico does a great job of, is not over-explaining, not doing too much or cluttering our brain, giving us, paralysis by analysis, but allowing us to go play free. And then we have that aspect, too, where we can really dig into the details, and we can do that with Rico. We can do that with Mario. We can do that with Ben. And same thing with Pete. All four of them we can go to as a resource and not as a crutch. And so it's awesome just to be able to use them, use their knowledge. They'll have an understanding that we're all different and we can all play differently based on who we are. And they lean into that with us. So it's been amazing being around all four of them and working with all four of them, and the way that they've just, shrunk our vision, but it's allowed us to go forward.
What do you prefer more, the pancake block or spring in a running back so they're taking
Let's
off?
go score.
Yeah?
Let's go score. Meet me in the end zone.
Yeah.
I mean, like, pancakes are cool. I mean, there's just no stats.
Okay.
The best feeling as an offensive lineman is when we score.
Okay.
And so, like my first start last year against LA, I wasn't on the field when they scored. Right. But when I played against Denver and Gino threw that cross I think it was from probably the 34-yard line to Brock and we scored, I'm going to remember that.
Yeah.
And it's just a great feeling, It's great to score. It's great to spring somebody loose. It's great to do our job, to let them go do their job. Because we set the tone, we set the standard, and we make things go. And so, that's our job. And when we're doing it well, it's fun.
So you also got a few bragging rights then. I'm noticing your Texas Tech ring there. You beat Arizona when a couple of Arizona rookies are on the team now in the secondary, and Stukes and Dalton Johnson. You also beat the number 1 overall draft pick 2 years prior when he was still at Cal. What do you remember about beating him in the Independence Bowl? Fernando was only 22 of 33, 281 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. What do you remember about that game?
It's funny because someone else asked me about that question in the interview where Callie asked me a question, and because this is true, I'm not a quarterback analyst. He's a nice guy. He's a great guy. There's all these interviews and stuff, but his priority is not to be liked. He's not here and like just hoping like everyone wants to like him because he's the first overall. He wants to be trusted and respected. Right. And that's something that just pops out at you and that you notice very quickly based on his intentions and the way that he carries himself and the way that he works. And so I'm sure it was that way at Cal. However that went is whatever. That was a fun game. But I mean, it's incredible to be around him now and just see the way that he carries himself.
So you're not walking around showing him your Independence ring?
No, I don't even think about it.
Caleb, thanks for stopping by. I know you're busy during training camp, and you got to get ready for the 49ers.
I appreciate you.
All right, that'll do it for this week's episode. If you want to stay up to date on all things Raiders, you can always check out our stuff on the Raiders official YouTube page or log in to Raiders.com.